continue our coverage with this, covering the biggest stories of the day, especially here in Arizona as well. We like to cover what's happening in the state. And as you know, on the ballot in 2020, Arizona voters legalized marijuana. It was put to them in a referendum, and they voted overwhelmingly to do so. And so as of today, the Arizona Department of Health issued licenses to around 73 dispensaries. And Fox 10's Justin Lum from here in Phoenix was there talking to people in line outside these dispensaries today. Let's listen into that.
Just wild, you know, more people than I've ever seen in a dispensary like this, probably 10, 15-fold.
A historic day in Arizona for marijuana dispensaries like Harvest House of Cannabis in Scottsdale. Dozens waiting in line to purchase recreational weed for the first time. Voters approved Prop 207 in the 2020 election, allowing those 21 and older to possess up to an ounce of marijuana and allowing recreational marijuana sales at licensed retailers. Proud moment for Harvest Health and Recreation CEO Steve White.
We have the first receipt issued in the state of Arizona. We recorded the first purchase.
The Arizona Department of Health approved 73 facilities for recreational marijuana sales licenses, a large majority in Maricopa County. White says he's impressed by the turnaround time since applying.
The vote was certified at the very end of November, so we're looking at less than 2 months between certification of the vote and actual first sale.
I actually had no idea we were going recreational today.
Tyler Amato says he uses a medical cannabis card, but he has to pay 2 renewal fees every 2 years, $150 to the state and $150 for a doctor's appointment to get approved. He says he may go recreational soon.
Personally, don't think that I will renew my card when it expires next year because I don't really see much of a point now because of the extra $300, unless the tax is vastly more expensive.
All right, we just wanted to also play some of this video that Justin captured on his iPhone just outside one of these dispensaries that got a license today in Arizona. See, the line is around the sidewalk, snaking around there as people wait to come in. And I'm going to be joined by NewsNOW's own Daytona Everett. We're going to be talking about this because this has been a trend, especially in western states. Daytona, isn't that right? And here in Arizona, it was put to the voters, and now they can possess an ounce of it. Isn't that right?
Yeah, no, this is a monumental time for Arizona because this is tried to been passed in the past, but it never came through, as Arizona has typically been an extremely conservative state, but now it flipped blue this year, and a lot of legislation is a direct reflection of that. And it was interesting because I was looking at the whole list of applications here. It says that they've received 79 applications, and 6 of those applications are under review right now, but you have to remember each location and region in Arizona is a little bit different, but all of them are requesting applications. So, you know, northern Arizona to right here in Phoenix, Scottsdale, which are totally different demographics, but everyone is trying to get their hands on a piece of this business, which is a very lucrative business. As you know, I think you covered a little bit of this story out there in Las Vegas.
You know, that's right, Daytona. I was covered a lot of these stories when Nevada was in the process. It was also put to the voters back in 2016. The voters also, you know, wanted this for their state, legalized recreational marijuana. And so, you know, once that happens, it doesn't just happen overnight. You know, they need to put a regulatory framework in place, as you're seeing today here in Arizona with the issuing of licenses, and for, you know, business owners and entrepreneurs to kind of, you know, foster this industry that is just exploding, especially here in western states. And this was known as Prop 207. I remember when I moved here back in September, I registered to vote in Arizona, saw it on the ballot when I went to vote in November. And it was approved. It allows people 21 years and older to possess up to an ounce of marijuana or a smaller quantity of concentrates such as hashish, allow for recreational marijuana sales at licensed retailers and for people to grow their own plants. And as you know, Daytona, with all of these legalizations, you know, in Colorado, in Washington State, in Oregon, in Arizona, California, Nevada, and there's some on the East Coast as well. I believe New Jersey, Massachusetts, Michigan. You know, it's not like you can, you know, be out and about using it, you know, in bars and restaurants and things, but it does legalize you to possess at least some of it. And that's a huge step forward for marijuana advocates. You know, a lot of detractors of marijuana and marijuana policy, they don't like it. It's still considered a Schedule II narcotic on the Federal Register. That's on the same level as heroin, Daytona. And so at the federal level, you haven't seen this sweeping, you know, measure to decriminalize it. Remember, though, in the House just a few months ago, they did pass decriminalization. It was going to go nowhere in a Republican-controlled Senate. But so it's kind of been left up to the states. At the federal level, though, they don't really enforce it that much as far as punitive measures go.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, though, because obviously I was covering California before. I was working in California before I came out here, and it is very recreational out there. They were moving forward so progressively to the point where they were starting some bars that you could have a THC smoothie or whatever, and CBD foods, and all things of that sort. So I think that's in the future, maybe a little further back for states like Arizona. But yeah, this is a huge step forward for the state of Arizona. And I think we're one of only like a couple, or there's only a couple states now that have not legalized recreational marijuana. So it's definitely an interesting story to be watching here on the ballots.
Yeah, and just lastly, it's the added tax benefit for states to kind of have that, you know, slush fund, that rainy day fund of the marijuana tax revenue. I know in Colorado and Nevada, they were kind of being creative with it and where that money would go. I know in Nevada, they wanted it to go to kind of education savings accounts for public school students because there was just millions of dollars coming in from tax revenue. Now, in Nevada, anyway, I don't know about here in Arizona what the case will be, but it is very heavily taxed.
Yeah, the question now, though, is oversaturation of the market. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. They have already 79 applications. That seems like quite a few, I guess, dispersed throughout the state. It's going to be less so, but making sure that they're keeping it to a minimum rather than letting all these different organizations sign on, and then it's not as good of a business venture for some of these people. So there's a business aspect to this as well. Yeah,
that's right. And just button up the point here, a lot of proponents of marijuana legalization says, you know, with all of these opening of dispensaries and the like and cultivation facilities, that it brings the industry out into the open rather than, you know, on the black market or underground. And that's kind of the decriminalizing aspect of it as well. So Daytona Everett here with us in the newsroom for News Now from Fox. Thanks for talking with me about this story. I hope you have a good weekend, and we got a lot of good things.